They laughed before she even finished her sentence. A half-circle of recruits stood around her on the sun-bleached training field, smirks forming as soon as she asked the question they never expected from someone like her. "Sir, permission to attempt the long-range trial." The words trembled, but her eyes didn't. What stung wasn't the difficulty of the challenge, it was the mockery in the air, the disbelief that clung to every whispered insult. And yet, beneath her sleeve, hidden from the world, sat the quiet truth inked into her skin. A small, faded sniper tattoo earned long before any of them knew her name. "Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening." She held her breath as the murmurs rolled across the field. They called her foolish, overconfident, a dreamer chasing storms she didn't deserve to touch. But she didn't flinch. She had asked because she needed to know if the strength she once carried, strength shaped by loss, shaped by memory, still lived inside her. The instructor, a stern man with a voice like dry gravel, crossed his arms. He wasn't unkind, just tired of broken attempts and wasted time. "You?" he asked softly, tilting his head with a doubtful half-smile. The words sliced deeper than he meant it to. She nodded anyway. Something inside her whispered that she couldn't keep shrinking forever, that her voice mattered, that her aim mattered. When he finally gestured to the long-range platform, the field fell into a hush. Dust drifted lazily in the afternoon light, hanging like suspended judgment. Her hands trembled, but not with fear. With memory, a memory of someone telling her she would never recover, that she'd never hold a rifle steady again. She thought she'd never see strength return. She was wrong. Every step toward the platform felt heavier than the last. The other recruits watched, breaths held, waiting for her failure. But she wasn't walking to prove them wrong. She was walking to prove something to herself, that courage sometimes chooses quiet moments no one expects. She lay prone, shoulders easing into a familiar embrace with the earth, as the metal of the rifle met her cheek. It had been years. She exhaled slowly, letting the world narrow into a single line, stretching across the field. The wind brushed past her ears like an old friend offering a final hint, and just as she centered her eye on the distant target, a voice called out behind her, a new presence, a shift in the atmosphere. Even the instructor straightened. A general one she didn't recognize had stepped onto the field. His boots moved with deliberate weight, every stride commanding silence. His gaze drifted to her sleeve, which had ridden up just enough for the tattoo to peek through. His expression changed, curiosity flashing into something else, respect, maybe even recognition. "Where did you earn that?" he asked quietly. The recruits froze. Their smirks vanished. She swallowed, unsure whether to answer. "In the Valley unit, sir," she said. "Before the accident." The general nodded like someone piecing together a story he once heard in passing, about a young sniper who held a ridge alone to save her team, then disappeared from service as quickly as she rose. "Carry on," he said, but his tone held a weight that steadied her pulse. She refocused. The air felt sharper now, cleaner. For a moment, the world belonged only to her, and the heartbeat, like rhythm of her breathing. She squeezed the trigger. The echo rippled across the field. A second later, the target blinked with a centered strike, then another, and another. 3 perfect shots. The crowd's silence broke into stunned murmurs, then applause at first, then swelling as people realized what they had just witnessed. She rose slowly, dust clinging to her uniform, heart pounding, not with pride, but with relief. She hadn't lost it. She hadn't lost herself. The general stepped closer. "Next time," he said softly, "don't ask if you're allowed to try. Just show them why you should." A warmth spread through her chest, turned, quiet, powerful. The moral felt painfully clear. Sometimes people mock what they don't understand. Sometimes they judge the scars they've never seen. And sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is ask to try again. Because courage isn't loud, it's steady, patient, and refuses to fade. And somewhere in the dust of that forgotten field, the echo of her first shot still lived, reminding her how far she'd come from the moment they mocked her. If this story moved you, share your thoughts below, subscribe for more, and keep believing in the strength you carry, even when others don't.